But the value of yesterday's message, which you fail to realize, is that basically when you have guaranteed money and it's tax free and it's saved and you reinvest in yourself, basically, whether you're with your own company or with someone else per se, you still win. How so? Because if you're the employer, where do you lose? That's one. But two, more so, how can I say this? If you're buying things at wholesale value instead of what? MSRP, it's a different story. Now, remember what I told you yesterday, right? Me basically used that last bit of money to give back on the initial contract, right? So, think of that now. If I'm buying wholesale for food, how much food can you buy for $3,000 within a company already? Unless you're already in debt, one, or two, $3,000 of free food that marks up to MSRP from a corporate level. Think about that. Where do you lose? That's me reinvesting in you from what you gave me. But I modified the contract because I forgot who the fuck I was fucking with to an extent, and literally, you robbed me the first time. You proved it again. You bought out Peachtree. And then, even on the quote-unquote contract, it still was redirected in different states. Every state is entitled to its own FDIC policy, one, but even two, more so, its own percentage of return. You assholes. So, yes, it is Saturday, and yes, do I change my feelings for nobody? No. But I'm just not as nice as I used to be. And how can I say like this? David Banner knows what the fuck he made, but yes, still, when I played it, it's all wrong. But how can I say like this? I can't explain that track. When you listen to it, you already know what the fuck it is to an extent. But you threw that at me as if I was inhuman. But you missed the whole fucking bigger picture of the damn song. Why is it made, and what was he doing before that? Do I know what's going on personally? No. But for him, I wasn't listening to what it was. I listened to what the bass or the whole line he's rapping on top of gave him that feeling to rap that. Which you fail to realize, there's always a bigger picture. You have to produce that anger when you actually were to perform it, if you were to perform it. So what the fuck do you say about that? I don't knock the man, but I don't know where the fuck it came from. And therefore, for me to call out, I guess we'll talk about myself, but we'll break that down slow. How can I say this? I'll be an asshole not to say that nigga life. Because literally, if you choose to go overseas, shit, you God bless your soul. I tell you that, because literally, to put it in what I just spoke into layman's terms, if you were to quote unquote not speak up when GJ Self played that shit when 504 and came out with that song, you fucking crazy. Because literally, the trend was, it started from what? The 90s, if not 80s. The 70s was okay, but the 80s and 90s was the hell of basically what we know, and trying to basically speak for once without issues. We want to show you how smart we are, quote unquote. And like literally, how can I say this? Even with us being as smart as we are, the 80s, how can I say like this? It's a whole different genre from the millennials, the 2000s. They're the chemical world, but we were then too. But they want the easy out, as they quote unquote created what? The new fentanyl, whoever want to call that shit. But even still, like, what the fuck? Think about that. Y'all think that people don't do time accordingly or just cop out, but literally, nobody wants to hear the story for what it is, though. And then when you do hear the story, you don't believe it and just choose to treat the person as if it never happened, but treat him as if it did happen. So you define that in itself as treating the person that him being outside is an incarceration in itself. But yes, still, every job that I've actually had, I've automatically just willingly donated back to any quote unquote, how can I say, child or in need of a child help. It started at KFC, and every child, if you had a program that I felt like it was worthy of, I donated it to an extent. If I was sound of mind, and if you use sound of mind, you could use ratios like they did me, percentages. What's your state of mind? I never lose. So why don't you lose? Because how can I say like this? You lost by paying attention. That's deep, right? You redirected your attention somewhere else. So that's time in itself. And with that even being said, with that being time in itself, think about that. That is a race right there. But is it time or is it given? Does it matter? No. That's not the point. The point is time. Yes, I may be in OCS school, but they didn't sign me. My decal was from my dad. That's what you fail to realize. I passed the ASVAB, yes. They didn't sign me though, and I never told them. If they did, then that's on them. But that was the reason why I didn't want to be signed, was just because of the fact that literally I shouldn't have went to jail that night. But I'm glad I did, because literally I kicked it up a notch. Why'd you just stand there in the driveway and just look? Why didn't you pray to God? That's the question. At least your older knew what the fuck it was, but what do you say for yourself? You smiled when you saw the contract. She got the money. But that's the real shit about it, is that now, whether I did or didn't, he could bury himself with that shit. Mark that shit in his own name. Unclaimed money, because I don't want that shit. I want what's mine, though. What my mother left me. Because I shouldn't have to go through all that shit just to validate that literally a child should never have to go through explaining themselves without nobody asking them anything. Not even a simple question of what is anything. What somebody could tell you no, but if they don't ask you or tell you why, I'm not gonna be defiant, but I'm gonna show you why I went against you. And that's the whole point that I didn't want to prove. Was just because of the fact that literally, how can I say this? If you want to say the dosage wasn't strong enough, fuck you, but why are you even poisoning me and asking me if my fucking stomach hurt in the first place? That's the fucking point. So, no, I don't feel shit. And literally, you got kids in front of me that look like mine, and you ain't telling me shit. But I'm supposed to claim him. But expose the lawyer for who he is. But who the fuck is that? He's not wrong. He's right. But wrong. So, literally, I'm out of that whole situation. That's for the state to handle. Because literally, even the government, because honestly, for you to omit yourself out of the whole situation but tie me in, when you add power of attorney, you're writing checks in my name then to an extent. But yes, so you got all the people looking at me like I got money, but I ain't got shit. So, you set me up as what? Looking as a scam artist. And you just raking in the money and just know where it's gonna go. Because we're in the digital realm. This money's from 98. You just may be that damn smart. Let's just say that. But me personally, who wants to brag about being homeless? Who does that? Like, honestly. Where do you see somebody sit in misery and sorrow and smelling piss and shit and literally don't want to work and be better and have to not ask you for shit? So, I just sit here, and 9 times out of 10, if I'm smoking, you may get a decent word or something to make you smarter. But if not, what does that tell you? You don't value quiet then.